Five Nights at Freddy's is a decade-old franchise with a lot of lost media, with many people in the community trying to solve and find said lost media once and for all. But in this video, I will be providing you with the most in-depth and conclusive look, no matter your experience regarding FNAF, into the most infamous piece of FNAF lost media ever made, with that being the missing FNAF 1 trailer and beta no one has been able to solve the mystery of until today. Because what you see on screen right now is footage of me playing the beta, along with footage I found of the lost FNAF 1 trailer. But let's rewind here for a second. What even is the missing FNAF 1 trailer and beta? Is it even real? And how did we get here? Well, in order for me to explain everything regarding one of FNAF's longest standing mysteries ever, with it turning 11 years old this year, we must start at the beginning. So with that being said, my name is Gavin Gone, and let's discover the truth behind FNAF's most mysterious lost media ever made. Now, lost media is a term I'm sure you've seen or have heard of before, either it be while scrolling on the YouTube homepage or by some other means, such as looking through my channel. I've made multiple videos regarding different types of FNAF lost media, some of which includes FNAF 2 Stingray, the FNAF Fright Dome, and so much more. But if you haven't seen those videos, or any videos regarding lost media, or if you just don't know what lost media is, then let me explain it for you real quick, as you'll need to understand what it is in order to truly understand everything talked about in this video. So even if you know what it is, a quick recap won't hurt. Lost media is a term used to describe media that is believed to be no longer in existence or for which no copies can be found. Lost media can range from any sort of media, such as movies, television, music, video games, and so much more. The term is used pretty loosely nowadays, but this is the most simple and easy to understand explanation for the concept. So when it comes to FNAF, the fanbase tends to document everything relating to the IP, meaning everything in the games, all the merchandise, books, and literally everything else. And because of how documented everything is for the franchise, it's quite a sight to see something slip past the cracks and not get documented. But for the early days of the franchise, this wasn't exactly the case, as people didn't really think to document everything related to the IP. Sure, the games were heavily documented, but not everything else was, such as the merchandise, rumors, theories, and etc. So when years later, people rediscover things that weren't previously documented or preserved online, it's kind of a big deal for the community, as it's almost like rediscovering a piece of history for the franchise, which is why lost media regarding FNAF tends to be a highly sought after thing for the fanbase. And over the years, me, along with many of other creators and fans of the franchise, have found many pieces of lost media relating to FNAF. But one piece of media that still hasn't been found yet comes all the way from the first FNAF game, with that being a supposedly real alternative trailer posted on Cawthon's YouTube channel for the first game. Now, as we all know, on June 14th, 2014, Scott posted his first FNAF 1 trailer, simply titled Five Nights at Freddy's, which now sits with over 16 million views, where we could see some gameplay mechanics along with animations for the characters and so on. Then you can't forget the gameplay video posted a month later on July 13th, 2014, titled Five Nights at Freddy's Gameplay, where, well, we see gameplay of Five Nights at Freddy's 1. But around the same time these videos were made, another video was posted to Scott's channel, titled Five Nights, which is not publicly available on his channel, either because it's been privated, unlisted, or deleted. Now, I'm sure you might be asking, well, why does this video matter? I mean, if it was deleted, then it was probably just an accidental post, or maybe there was an error in it that Scott fixed. And that's where I'd say you're wrong, because you see, there was a short time this video was up on Scott's channel, long enough to the point where people actually were able to watch it, which is proven to us as some people commented about it on his first FNAF 1 trailer video that is now currently up, as this Five Nights video was actually posted before the original trailer that's up was. But all of this is just the beginning of this rabbit hole, so before we begin to unravel everything and dive headfirst into this, make sure to subscribe if you love Five Nights at Freddy's, as many of you aren't, and it'll only take 1 second to do. Scott Cawthon has been a game developer, animator, and much more in his over 30 years of being, well, all of these things. And over these 30 years, he has worked on various projects stemming from educational content, Christian content, and the content he is known for today, with that being Five Nights at Freddy's. But with his extremely diverse career, along with how long it spanned for, a lot of his older content, primarily his first movies, have become lost media, with a good example of this being his animation series titled Bird Village. These animations were centered around a group of birds and their adventures, with each installment being a new episode showing the characters going on a new adventure and so on. The reason I bring up this seemingly irrelevant fact is because Scott and his various pieces of content are not a stranger to being lost media, because even though many of these episodes have been found, some still haven't, and this includes many more different pieces of animation, movies, games, and so on from Scott Cawthon's portfolio. There have been dozens of videos online talking about Scott's previous works before FNAF, with much of it being lost media nowadays, but in many of these videos, people tend to forget the most infamous piece of lost media related to Scott Cawthon, with that being, well, the missing FNAF 1 trailer. Now, everyone knows the story about how FNAF was created. We all know the story about Chipper and Sons Lumber Co., one of Scott's previous games before FNAF, and how someone left a bad review on the game saying the characters looked like pizzeria animatronics. This was the inspiration for the franchise we all know and love today. One simple bad review. So Scott got to work on the game, and before FNAF 1 released, he posted 2 videos to show off the development of the game, with those being a trailer and the gameplay video, which are now currently up on Scott Cawthon's channel. These were, and still are, the only videos that were posted on Scott's channel that showed off FNAF 1 and its gameplay mechanics. But as years passed, rumors started speculating online stating that this wasn't the case, because when Scott posted the FNAF World trailer, he quickly deleted it sometime after posting due to the negative reception the game was getting, which ultimately led to the whole game being delisted off of Steam and basically just deleted. This incident sparked many theories about Scott's older works, including his earlier FNAF games, so many fans started to look through his accounts and so on to see if they could find more potentially deleted FNAF trailers or even games, especially since Scott was known to be a troll and make tons of troll fan games that are now not available. So this is when the investigation officially began, and this is when the rumors started. So we'll start at the beginning for continuity's sake, as if I even tried to explain this out of order, it would make no sense. So let's dial it back to 2014 again. Scott Cawthon posted his first FNAF 1 trailer onto YouTube, and some days after the first trailer was posted, a user called Wallmeat commented about another trailer in this video's comment section, where he says this: "I think this is an interesting angle for a horror game to take. I could sort of see why you changed the eyes from the last video, but I wouldn't hold too much stock in people who want to see spikes and daggers and blood and skulls and all that garbage just because animatronics aren't quote-unquote scary enough. By that sort of logic, Pennywise is just a clown and Chucky is just a doll. The fear of monstrous clowns and toys is rooted in the same soil as the fear of monstrous mascots and animatronics." But then shortly after this comment was made, Scott made a comment replying to it where he said this: "Thanks for the comment. Yeah, it's all about trying to find a balance between what's scary to me and what's scary to everyone else. When I was a kid, it was the cute googly eyes on the animatronics that made them scary to me. It was such a frightening contrast. I don't think it translated as well to animation though. I think the classic black/red Terminator eyes will serve the game better." What do these comments mean and what are they referring to? Well, this is where the rabbit hole begins, because this comment was one of, if not the first comment on the FNAF 1 trailer, and it's still publicly available to be seen online to this day. But what is it talking about? There is no other FNAF 1 trailer that was posted before this one, or at least not publicly. So what happened to it? Well, years after these comments were made back in 2014, Reddit was already investigating Scott Cawthon in his older media like I mentioned earlier. So on July 15th, 2020, a Redditor named, whatever, I don't know what this is, I don't know how you say it, but whatever their name was, they were able to get in contact with Wallmeat somehow on Twitter, where they had this discussion about this comment thread and the previously mentioned trailer. "You are the first commenter on Five Nights at Freddy's trailer on YouTube. You're talking about the last video. What did you mean by the last video? Was there another FNAF trailer or something? Everyone wants to know that on Reddit. Please answer if you remember what it was." Wallmeat responds: "There was a previous video up there that had a different quote-unquote scarier design for the unsuited animatronics, with red HAL 9001 style eyes. I suppose it isn't up anymore on Scott's channel, but I remember a few gaming YouTubers making mention of it while it was still on Kickstarter." This conversation continued a bit longer, but no more archived screenshots were saved, so when looking back at the conversation, we can only see Wallmeat's comments, since however you pronounce their name, was suspended off of Twitter. But we can still figure out a lot about this conversation even though it's just Wallmeat's comments, so let's look at the rest of them. Yeah, if I recall correctly, it was pretty much identical to the one I commented on, save for the animatronic reveal. Alright, I was confused. I thought the trailer that was currently on there had the reveal with the regular animatronic eyes. I had thought that this was that trailer, since I think that's how it is in the game. It's been a while since I even looked at the video, but looking at it, this is the one with the red eyes. The one that existed before it had the non-robotic eyes. At some point, I suppose Scott must have switched to the red ones and then switched back for the games. Yeah, regular endoskeleton eyes. and the final comment in this thread. No, I'm afraid that when I made that first post, I was mistaken, and accidentally recalled the trailer currently up. What I saw was a regular endoskeleton, such as in the background here. My apologies for the confusion. What we could take away from this conversation is that there was a trailer before the one we have now, and it was the exact same, apart from the scene where Bonnie takes his face off to expose his endoskeleton. That scene originally had normal endoskeleton eyes, like seen in the game, instead of the red ones we got in the final trailer. So the mystery is solved then, right? Well, no, because some more information then came out shortly after this Twitter thread was finished that blew the case wide open. Because as you see, Walmeat is the only source we have of this supposedly lost trailer, along with the Scott Cawthon comment, meaning no one else can prove if there was actually a previous trailer. I mean, sure, we can somehow try to get in contact with Scott about it, but even if it was real, he wouldn't have a reason to show us it, and most likely he would just get irritated with everyone asking him about it, especially if this was all just some big hoax or misunderstanding. So, like most Reddit investigators do, they kept digging deeper, and that's when they found something even more groundbreaking to this mystery, and they didn't even need Scott's help for it. Instead of trying to get in contact with Scott Cawthon, they decided to look deeper into his social media accounts, and attempted to use the Wayback Machine to see if they could find anything in said accounts, and by doing this, they discovered Scott Cawthon's Google Plus page just by using the Wayback Machine. So when looking through it, you could see all of his uploaded YouTube videos, and even some retitled/deleted ones, and surprisingly enough, they found a video which was unfamiliar, simply titled 5 Nights, which was posted on June 13th, 2014, one day before the new trailer we all know was posted. This was proof that the video that Walmeat and Scott were talking about in the comments actually existed. So we now know 100% it is real, but does the link work for it? Well, no, but there is a link for it, meaning at one point in time it used to take us to this video. So now we were at a dead end. Walmeat didn't have any more information to give to us regarding this missing trailer, and he didn't want to help in the investigation anymore as he didn't have any more information. So with this roadblock, more Redditors decided to dive into the comment section of the FNAF 1 trailer once more to see if there were any more people who commented on it around the time of its release. And just by doing this, they were able to find more information, because after all this digging into the comment section, someone replied to Gloobly Blue, the 4th commenter on the trailer, asking them if they remembered anything or seen the now missing trailer, where years later they actually responded and said this. I vaguely remember checking out this channel to see if there was actual gameplay or what other games this guy had made and lolling at the religious stuff. I think at the time I saw this, there was another video about the game, but I think it might have been more worthless than this one. I vaguely remember it being like 30 seconds long, and it was just stills and text, or maybe I'm being affected by Mandela. All I can recall was maybe seeing another video about the game, and it was really boring and had less information about the actual game than this one does. A lot of Steam Greenlight games looked extremely bad, but at least this one had a really dumb and interesting premise. I would track down lots of YouTube channels for the people who posted them, and you would be amazed at how few of them had actual gameplay or a trailer that wasn't horrible to make people want to vote for their game. Sometimes you would find a trailer like the one here and think, oh, that's interesting, and you would find the YouTube channel, and sometimes they would have gameplay. This comment stood out to many people involved in this investigation, as it was to a very early comment on this video, but this user remembered the original deleted trailer way differently than how Walmeat described it, with them saying the trailer was way more boring and bland compared to the one now uploaded. But they did preface and say that this could be a Mandela effect and they might be remembering the trailer wrong, which after many years is a very feasible explanation. But still, this didn't deter investigators. Because around the same time, we also got a couple more comments from Walmeat, but for the most part, it was just a couple more comments of them reiterating stuff that was previously mentioned by them. But then after all this research and investigation into Scott's older accounts and his videos and basically everything else that he has had, well, silence. So the video's over then, right? I mean, the lost media is obviously real, and no one has been able to find it since it's been deleted. So shouldn't the video be over? Well, as I mentioned when starting this video, this is only just the beginning of this rabbit hole, because there is still so much more information out there regarding this trailer, along with some more early beta content that might have been featured in it. So after this piece of lost media started to get popular in 2021, many people started to create fan-made versions of the lost trailer, based on Walmeat's description of it, along with some recreations that aren't, but the ones that are based off of it, like Rog Terry Music's video titled 5 Nights Lost Media Recreation, are, well, I'll just show you. This recreation is very accurate to Walmeat's description, with the eyes being normal, and with the rest of the video also being the exact same as the trailer that is posted on Scott's channel now. So then if we have a one-to-one recreation of this trailer, are there any trailers based on Gloobly Blue's description of it? Well, no, mainly because this video that you're watching right now is the first and only video actually talking about this comment, so I guess get to making a recreation video of it or something, I don't know. But ever since this mystery got popular in 2021, we only have gotten further and further away from the truth of finding this piece of lost media, except when it comes to one particular screenshot. You see, a lot of these recreation videos tend to have one fatal mistake, with that being the fact that most of them use an endoskeleton with red eyes, like the one seen in the final trailer for some reason for the endoskeleton review, even though it doesn't match the description of the lost trailer at all. Because as Walmeat said, when Bonnie removed his face in the missing trailer, there was just normal endo eyes, not the red ones. So why would all these recreation videos make this fatal mistake? And most importantly, why am I bringing this up if it's such a minute detail? Well, there's actually a good reason why, and it's something many people tend to forget or not even know about in the first place. This is the infamous beta screenshot that was posted on this Steam Greenlight page for FNAF 1, which features this image of said endoskeleton with red eyes. This infamous image is synonymous with FNAF Lost Media, and is basically the face of it, as this is the only rendered image that ever exists of this red-eyed version of the endoskeleton. This image is the first ever piece of FNAF 1 beta media, as this image, or more importantly, this design is the beta version of the endoskeleton. You see, if it wasn't for this image, as I previously mentioned, this video would be over now, but this image is the key to understanding this whole mystery. I mean, if people are mistaking this version of Endo 01 compared to the normal eyed version, then there's definitely a giant Mandela effect going on, since people are clearly thinking this red-eyed version was what was included in the lost trailer, even though it wasn't. In many of these recreation videos, they had gotten this key difference mixed up, but how? Well, there's a lot of different potential answers to that question, and we'll get back to that in a moment here. But first, let's look into the beta design for Endo 01 to see if we can find any more clues regarding this mystery and the lost FNAF 1 trailer. This endoskeleton is clearly seen inside of Freddy's suit, seen by the bottom of the image, and also has many noticeable differences compared to the normal endos seen in game. This version obviously has red eyes and also has sharper teeth compared to the normal endos, which may have been inspired from the Terminator or media with similar themes, like how Scott mentioned in his reply comment to Walmeat. Clearly Scott wanted to make these endos more creepy than the suits, which would make sense from what he said about the Terminator. For those who somehow don't know what the Terminator is, I'll explain the correlation real quick and why it's important. The Terminator is a futuristic robot that, well, terminates, and in the movies is sent back in time to kill the protagonists or help them depending on the movie. But the ones that are sent back in time are disguised as humans, looking just like them and blending in with normal society while trying to hunt down the person they were programmed to terminate. But as the movies go on, the Terminator gets more and more damaged, where you can start to see underneath the skin, where, well, you see the endoskeleton of the Terminator, including all the metal mechanical parts and red eyes. This might have been the angle Scott was originally going to take for the FNAF franchise. Instead of it being about possessed kids pizzeria animatronics, they would instead be Terminator-like robots, where they seem friendly on the outside, but on the inside you see what they truly are, with that being a killer animatronic. This reason alone is probably the reason Scott ultimately changed the design in the end, because it wouldn't really match with the story, and because why would the eyes turn red? I mean, the endoskeleton eye is black with a red dot, and then when it's in suit mode, it's completely normal and doesn't have any black or red dots. So for the eyes to switch like that, well, it just wouldn't be possible for them to switch colors like that. But if you make the eyes normal and make them look kid friendly, and just give it a white dot so you can see it in the dark, it becomes then fully functional and still equally as terrifying. Plus, I also just don't know how the story would work. I mean, why would the pizzeria have Terminator-like robots? I just don't see how or why that would make sense. So you can put your best theories in the comments of how a FNAF Terminator game would work out, but I'm not gonna do that. But anyways, with all that being said, stop and think now for a second. Just imagine how different the franchise would be if it was based off of this Terminator-like premise. Just imagine how different the games would look, along with how different its story and future characters would be. I mean, the game would be completely different, and this idea, along with the lost trailer, created speculation in the community that made people ask, what would the beta of FNAF 1 look like? I mean, it was confirmed to us how a bunch of content was originally cut from the games, like this endoskeleton for example. So what would it look like during development if all this cut content was still included? Well, this lost trailer was thought to be the key to finding that out, but since no one has been able to find it, many fans moved over to the next best thing, with that being the 2 videos up on Scott's channel about FNAF 1, as these videos included some cut content from the game's development that never saw the light of day, such as the red endo eyes and the fact that Bonnie was the one who originally ran, since Foxy wasn't completed yet by the time the first trailer was posted. But these weren't the only things that ultimately got cut from the game, because as people continued to dive into these two videos to look for beta content, they kept noticing more cut content previously missed, such as this iconic image of the animatronics looking at the camera, which was never actually featured in the game. Then looking at the gameplay video, people noticed even more cut content, like that there was a live system, along with some more inconsistencies in the cameras that the final game didn't have, like some of the names being different for the cameras and so on. But apart from these little things, there wasn't anything else people noticed that was eventually cut from the final game, apart, well, from these things. So that means that these three things are the only pieces of content that are considered cut content from that trailer, as everything else that was cut from the game was either mentioned to us from Scott Cawthon years later, or was seen in the gameplay video. So that meant that if we truly wanted to get a glimpse into Scott's earlier ideas for the franchise, we'd have to look back even further into its development process, since the Lost trailer wasn't an option anymore. Sure, we know the trailer had normal endo eyes, and maybe it was just a video that had images giving us information for the game, as mentioned in Gloobly's comment. But this wasn't enough of a concrete answer for fans, because what if Walmy or Gloobly were forgetting key information from this Lost trailer, such as potential cut content or much more? So with this thought in the back of many people's minds, this didn't deter fans from looking deeper through Scott's other social media platforms from around 2014, because people really wanted to find more information regarding some of FNAF 1's earlier concepts and ideas. I mean, Scott posted to various websites, forums, and other platforms to promote and distribute his games and trailers along with information, so this wasn't such a far-fetched idea, because then around last year, someone found something. May 27th, 2023. The YouTube channel FNAF Beta Stuff was made, and later that day, they posted their first video simply titled 5 Nights at Freddy's 1 Beta Office Screenshots. This video shows us many screenshots of the FNAF 1 office during early development, as the office is less polished than it is in the final version of the game. And then at the end of the video, a text wall pops up talking about the low quality of the images, while also mentioning that they are looking for more images / footage of the beta version of FNAF 1. This video only sits out 4.2 thousand views as the time of recording, and has flown under many people's radars because of that low view count. But when looking into this account more, I realized that I might have stumbled into the pit of this rabbit hole once and for all, as this is where all of my research has led me to. And well, I kept digging because we might have finally found our answer. Now, over the years, some videos have popped up online talking about and or showing supposedly real versions of the FNAF 1 beta, like this video made 3 years ago by Caesar Z, that looks to be convincing gameplay of, well, the FNAF 1 beta, except for the fact that absolutely nothing is different about the gameplay apart from a few subtle things. It also doesn't help that this video came out right when the hype regarding the Lost FNAF 1 trailer was at its peak, so that basically shot down any confidence I had about this video being real. But this FNAF 1 beta stuff was different. You see, this channel actually had content that was never seen before, and wasn't just some sloppy edit that claimed to be from the beta. And this was proven to us even further when just a day later, on May 28th, another video simply titled PowerOut.avi was released. Again, another jackpot. This video seemed to show off some more legitimate cut content from the FNAF 1 beta, such as this different power outage animation, along with its new music, which was also used in the Mango's Quest minigame from FNAF 3. And then you can't forget the completely different jump scare, which has red eyes like the beta endoskeleton had. But before I got my hopes up, because this all just seemed way too good to be true, I still had to keep looking deeper into this account. So I decided to look into the video a little bit more before moving forward, and when I did, I found even more. The first place I looked was in the description, which was very interesting. A short gameplay video of a beta version of Nights At Freddy's 1. We still can't figure out what does form mean exactly for this stuff. There is no exact source available for it. This short description is talking about the bottom of these videos, where it says form, and how the uploader doesn't know what it means. But I think I do. Remember earlier when I mentioned how Scott posted his games and trailers and information relating to FNAF all over the internet? Well, some of those places happen to be on various forums online, which were connected to the websites he posted on, meaning these videos / images could have been downloaded from some sort of forum before they ended up in the YouTuber's hands. This would also explain why so far they haven't mentioned where they found these videos yet along with the clips, since they could have just been sent over to the uploader or something. But again, remember, nothing was concrete yet, so I had to keep looking into the channel further. What you just watched was the third video uploaded to the channel, simply titled Cameras, where you can see, well, the cameras, along with Morse code being played in the background. Luckily, a commenter was able to translate it, where it supposedly says this: "Within the dark halls of abandoned place creepy, office whispering it's me to that menace." I don't know what that means, but it's very cryptic. And then the description also mentions the Morse code as well, but apart from all of that, this video doesn't have much substance to it. We do get to see some different camera angles, but that's really it for this video. The next couple of videos posted on the channel aren't really related to FNAF, so for time's sake, I'm just gonna skip them. But the next FNAF 1 related video posted is titled FNAF 1 Post-Trailer Foxy Run. Corrupted, Fixing Progress, June 25th, 2014 clip, where we see a short clip of Foxy running down the hall, along with one of the beta cameras. This video again doesn't have too much to show, but it does have a very interesting description. Happy late 10th anniversary FNAF. Well, it looks like we've had another 4-month break. Actually, wait, it's 5 months now. Oh great. Well, our beta tester friend went silent for quite some time now. We're kind of worried for him, but we did manage to dig a video of very likely FNAF 1 beta version gameplay. It would have been great if not the fact that it's, well, corrupted. It's pretty hard to fix this one, so it might take us some time still, but we almost fully recovered this short clip of Foxy running down the hall. I absolutely love that clip. You can barely see Foxy because it's so short and dark, but you can kind of tell that the animation is slightly different and the fog is apparent, that he's been there in the trailer of FNAF. To be fair, I think Scott should have kept that fog. It looks aesthetic. Anyway, for some more interesting info, we figured out the date of this video from the data about it. So now we know the exact date of when this was recorded. June 25th, 2014, 5:26 p.m. That's 10 days after the trailer got released on Scott's YouTube channel. So we can see that by then, he already made the game 16:9 instead of 4:3. Updated the office with most of the things being final renders already. The poster is a bit different though. Buttons seem to have been on the very end of the office. They are not in the final position, and the player still locks the door. Wonder if the buttons were any different. The backstage is still on the other side of the room, as seen on the camera's video, but it now has an endoskeleton and overall looks more complete. And Foxy, well, we've already covered him. There isn't really much to say about this video. It's a very short clip, and we still don't know too much from the video as we're trying to fix it. We are very excited to share the whole thing with you as soon as it's fully recovered. We'd also really like to share the full game with you if we manage to find it, but we kinda doubt on that. Plus, I don't think Scott would enjoy us releasing it, might it has all the nights in it. Heck, even a demo with just one night would probably be problematic. But yeah, that's probably all we've got for now. Unfortunately, expect the full thing to drop in the following days. Not 4 months this time, we promise. See you on the flip side. Now, this is a lot. So let's go over the important things because there was a lot of useless stuff in this description as well. They mentioned knowing a beta tester, which was one of the things they talked about in one of the videos I didn't show. They mentioned that they want to be anonymous and that they don't have much footage of the beta version of the game, as it's been spread all over the internet. Now, Scott never had any beta testers, as he and his kids were the beta testers for the game. So is this him or one of his kids, or is this another person never mentioned before? We don't know, but this isn't all, and we'll get back to that in a second here. A lot of the things mentioned in this description can't even be seen because the video is so zoomed in, which was a mistake on the uploader's part. But apart from this, there isn't too much to report on, as a lot of the stuff isn't really able to be seen in the video that well. But after this video, an absolute bombshell dropped when FNAF beta stuff posted this. The next 3 videos posted on the channel were all gameplay footage of the FNAF 1 beta, and even a launch trailer for the beta. So, was this it? Was this the breakthrough we've been looking for all this time? Did we finally find the original launch trailer, along with some gameplay footage and cut content? Well, before we get into that, let's look at this trailer that was posted to figure out the answer once and for all.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome to 5 Nights at Freddy's.
After all of this time, we've been lied to. Because this whole channel was just an ARG to promote a fan game simply titled, well, 5 Nights at Freddy's beta. So I'm sure you're asking, well, now what? We've hit a dead end and there's nothing we can really do to move forward in our search. And that's where I'd say for the final time, you're wrong. Because this project is a very accurate portrayal of what a beta version of the game would look like, making it one of the only playable betas, fan-made or not, of FNAF ever made. This game features a lot of the stuff previously mentioned in this video, and shows off an accurate and realistic interpretation of what the game would have looked like on June 30th, 2014, 2 weeks after Scott's first trailer. So as I continue to look into this game for maybe more potential clues, even though I knew it was an ARG, it unfortunately doesn't even work anymore, meaning we can't go into too much depth regarding how accurate it is to an actual FNAF 1 beta. Sure, many people posted about the fan game online, and well, it looks pretty good for the most part, but until they actually fix the game, we can't really look into it to see if it's accurate or not. And since we can't see if the game's accurate to wall meet subscriptions or anything like that, it's kind of just a lost cause. But you see, during this part of the video, I want to include a segment going over the fan game because I thought it'd be very interesting to. But as I continued to write this script, I felt like something was missing. Something was off. Something wasn't right. You see, after all this research, there was a lot of genuine information regarding the FNAF 1 launch trailer, like Wall Meets claims and Scott's Google Plus page and much more. But the same couldn't be said about the FNAF 1 beta, as there is not a lot of genuine information regarding a beta online, as most of the information that's posted online about it stems back from the trailer or is just misinformation or ARGs, stuff like this. So with all that being kept in mind, I knew I wasn't done yet, because I still had a gut feeling I was missing something, or that there was more to the story. And after weeks of diving into this and researching and trying to find information in people's comments and much more information, and well, looking into people's testimonies online regarding this elusive piece of lost media, well, I could say I was stumped. I, for once, finally accepted defeat and accepted that this piece of lost media just couldn't be found. It wasn't possible, and it definitely wasn't possible with just one person, with that being me, looking for it. But I still knew that there was something out there, and that I was very close to finding something. And it wasn't this ARG beta thing, or any of this fan game stuff, but it was actually stuff related to the trailer. So after diving into the depths of the internet one last time to find information, hopefully regarding this trailer or even a beta, well, I found something. And it's something that no one has ever seen until this video. And all I could say is that it's more than I could bargain for.